only Tuesday, the second day of the fast. So I mean of the come on. I say hello Facebook. Instagram. Come on, cheering. Come on. Waiting for Facebook to connect. We have also YouTube page, friends and followers. I got a lot to say tonight, but I'm not going to take all night to say it. We want to go over a few things. Come on, call your mom and them. Tell them to tune in. Find friends, people you know are adventurous and curious and who want to expand and want to reconfigure their lives. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the current events and how they play into what I forecast occur in 2023. And it's going to be quite a year. It's already started out as quite a year. A lot of transitions from the Pope to Barbara Walters. To the precious football player that collapsed and had a massive cardiac arrest. To I think his name is Hornberger or Halberger. I'll get to that later. Who is accused allegedly of killing 4 college students. What does all this mean? Not necessarily anything different because none of it's new. People have died. People have killed. There have been accidents and heart attacks and things, but the United States Congress has never been, in at least the last 100 years, there's a lot of disarray in with the selection of a speaker. There's tensions in the United States Congress that we've never seen before, and so that's not something to ignore because that's going to increase. You're going to see more of the things, as I alluded to and wrote to you today and posted. I'll be getting into that, but just let's talk about the news and let's talk about you, the new year, the happy new year, and the happier new you, and you can be happier even in the midst of all drama and trauma and change and shifting. That's why we're here to help you navigate and negotiate your way through and remain joyful and confident and anchored and centered and secure. You don't have to become an alcoholic or a drug abuser or substance abuser of any type just because crazy shift, as they FT, is happening. We help you get your shift together and keep it together. That's why we're here every week. And that's why I've been doing this since probably 10, 12 years. Started it in Chicago. We've continued it here in Tulsa the last 8 years. So there I see Facebook names. I have to put my other on to see some of your, let's see. Hello, Shelly, Livy, Jason, Marie, Yolanda, good to see you again. Pamela, Grace, you're always here. Bless you, Beverly, Tunisia, Mateo, you, Darren, Curtis, Phyllis. If you, we have just under 100 who signed up already for the SOAK immersion technology and dealing with energy and frequencies and vibrations and thoughts. It's so very done. I've been getting the text from me every day as well. Instructions, the inspirational comments, the questions that Henry asks me and that I respond to, and you get to hear it. We're going to add to this as the month goes on, including about the Daniel's Fast, which I will tell you a little about tonight. I started mine. I started my fast on the 1st, total abstinence from food. But when I eat, it'll be the Daniel's Fast, and that's just simply fruits and vegetables, mostly fresh, nuts, beans, or I could just say a plant-based diet where you don't eat any meats, not even fish or fowl, for 21 days. And you separate yourself for a special time of prayer, contemplation, intensive time of just reflecting, sometimes listening to your favorite jazz or worship music and relaxing. Find a place, even if you have to go to the restroom on the job, and for a few minutes, or sit in the car, go down to the car, find a place for yourself. And if you can't do it during the day, do it at night. But find a place where you can do some deep, long, reflective observations of yourself. And your soul will let you learn more about it. Operates along with your psyche. We've got to go within so we don't have to go without in these special times. And so be prepared for all that. Henry is on tonight to obtain any questions you may have about the Silk experience. I love mine coming every day consistently and sending them to you as well, of course. But if you have any questions, I'm going to let him just reintroduce everything again since it's new. It's only the second day from yesterday was the 2nd of January. This is the second day of the actual Silk immersion technology experience for you. And he's going to go over it. You can still enroll today, tomorrow, and these things archive, and you can replenish your life not only the month of January, but we'll have something in February, something in March. We're adding to it. There's going to be music. We're going to add some of our After the Rain music. Going to take some special things and set up a special Zoom community just for those engaged program to see how you're doing, how to do today. We may interact. What did you eat? What did you not eat? How are you feeling physically? Are you resting well? Are you drinking enough water? We can share our ideas and experiences. It'll be like those of you who registered, a very close-knit Patreon type club. And they will expand that and include others. Some of you may only want to go 21 days. Some of you may want to go in February, something else, because we'll do it again. Henry is available and Silk is available, and we can make it available to you from now on if you want to stay committed. We've already reduced the cost, and when you see it, you realize that the value of $800 to $1,000 would have had to pay you would have had to pay going into the clinic. And most people pay at $29. We're only asking for a donation of $14.95. That's a real steal for such a dearth of information, such quality, scientifically proven experiences and expressions of self-worth and self-improvement, self-enhancements, self-enlargement spiritually. So if you're interested, wave. If you're interested, listen in. You can tune in today. Henry, give us an update since you're the founder of this and introduced it to me, and we introduced it to Michael Beckwith. He did it 2 or 3 different times. Thousands of people loved it. I introduced you to him. He loves you, honors you, respects you as the value and virtue of this Silk program. And so we wanted to offer it to our friends and partners as well. Dr. Penix, what doth the Lord say? Or what do you say?
Yes, sir. Well, I love the fact that you're on the 21-day Daniel's fast. For as long as I've known you, you've been doing this, and it resets your mind, your body, and your spirit. It resets everything. It says, even in the word where it says when you fast, it doesn't say if you fast, it says when you fast. And doctors have said this is so great for your body. It rejuvenates everything inside your body. It gives you a fresh start for a fresh new year. And when you combine that with frequencies from Silk, for those who haven't heard about them, we were in 5 years in clinic. We took about 3 years to bring the entire clinic experience online. We're now in 133 countries with over 15 million minutes of digital health frequencies. And it's just been it's been a huge blessing for all of us. It's been more than we even imagined. And, when you and I were talking about pairing the frequencies with the fast, you've got frequencies in fasting for the mind, body, and spirit. The frequencies will align your cells at that cellular level. And when you go without food, attuned your mind to a point where you're not letting the stressors of life get in. It kind of slows everything down. It kind of removes a little of the stress and the chaos. When you're doing that at the same time you're listening to the frequencies, you have just turbocharged both. And you will feel it for the rest of this year for sure, if not for years to come. So when we put this online and you and I started talking, we've had a friendship for years, and I said, look, let's take the price, let's cut it in half. I want all your community to be able to have it and to go through it with you. You're also going through this program. So today was day 2, and you had some wonderful things to say when we recorded this previously. You were talking about how when you first felt that it was time and you've been called to actually teach and preach and everything, like what that felt like, what you experienced. It gets into some facts and some things that very few people know about you. And I loved bringing that out and showing it to the community. And then for you to do a teaching, one-on-one teaching from Carlton Pearson, it put the icing on the cake. So you listen to the teaching every day. For 21 days, you'll get 2 to 4 minutes of Carlton's teaching specifically to you about certain subjects every day. And then you can go down, press another button, and listen to your favorite frequency. So in the clinic, we had anti-anxiety frequencies, anti-depression. Our most popular frequency is for insomnia. We tell people if you can listen to it through the whole 20 minutes and still be awake, I'll give you $100. So it really works and has really been a fabulous thing. And I'm so happy that we were able to get this together for you, as well as you making a special program for it. So Malachi's putting this up on the screen. Those are the different frequencies. We've got 30 of these frequencies, and you can listen to the original frequency only. You can listen to nature sounds with it or music with it. And these are a compilation of different types of frequencies. This is not like the binaural beats you find on YouTube. This is something that we had technicians, doctors, scientists put together for specific outcomes. And when you listen to these, they align your cells in a certain way that it puts your body back into homeostasis. And when you're in homeostasis, everything is equalized and balanced out. We know that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we can get rid of any dis-ease. We can get rid of so many mental things that are going on in our mind, and it's just been so good. But that was the page with all the frequencies. You can go through 30 of them. There's another. This is the home page. You can go right to the immersion program on the right-hand side there. You hit the immersion program, and it will actually pull up Carlton's program, which is on the next slide. And when that comes up, like today, the mindful intention that Carlton was sending everybody via text is, as I'm faithful with the small or less significant things, I will be trusted and entrusted with more and more significant things. So he does a teaching on being faithful over few and being blessed with many. You hit that deep dive that says deep dive with Carlton, and it's his recording. It's that 2 to 4 minute teaching. Now, if you go on down in the page, Malachi, on the next slide, you can also listen to a customized frequency. So this is where Carlton comes and gives you a list of positive affirmations, one after the other, with the frequency actually playing in the background. And that's one of my favorite things to listen to. So yeah, that's kind of the program in a nutshell. We've still got open enrollment. If people want to get on, sign up today, you can access his program immediately. Beyond the name that he is listening to. And then when he starts teaching about these, like in a Zoom meeting or private Facebook group, it's going to be the whole community. It's going to be everybody who's in this program will have special access to Carlton, and he'll be able to teach to it. He'll be able to share with what he's experiencing as he's listening to the frequencies every day, and what that's doing to his body. And it's really cool to have that type of a community, because it's not easy going 21 days with, I think Carlton goes 4 or 5 days without anything. And then you just eat the fruits, the nuts. And so you've got so many things going on. It's so nice to be in a community of like-minded people who can share their victories, who can talk about what's bothering them and how you can get over that. Carlton's been doing this for so many years. He's got some great tips and tools and techniques that put you on the other side of this and make that 21 days go by like this, so that you can literally change your mind, body, and spirit for the rest of your life.
We're detoxifying from this culture that we live in. This may be the most toxic I've experienced in my nearly 7 decades on the planet. I've never seen or sensed in America, or the tensions in the common culture, These are just beautiful people and the beautiful. There's another energy that's negative and poisonous. Deciding to stay away from processed foods really should be indefinitely. I know it's almost impossible to completely avoid them because when you're feeding billions of people, we're just across the 8 billion number of people on the planet. So processed foods to feed the masses is destroying the masses and destroying the culture of the country with global warming, putting into the air that is destroying the forest. 2023, there'll be some pretty dramatic shifts. You're already noticing dramatic weather changes. Start eating less sodium, less sugar. We're just putting poisons, even the counter legal drugs can be toxic and addictive. And they're so quick to announce these and present these. I know people that take 15 to 25 different pills, not just vitamins, pills, every day. And then they try to mix vitamins with that, and they're feeling sluggish and lazy and tired and angry and toxic. So we want to help you live a pure life. Then you affect the frequencies of thought, and thoughts are frequencies. It's really what you think about most frequently. That's how you create the frequency that governs your life, that enhances, that can be both inventive and preventive for what you want to happen in your life. We're putting the power back in your hands. You're taking your power back. We're going to go through this for 21 days and offer it to others who will come on, because you're sharing with friends. Give it some time to take really root in you, start sticking to your rib cage, and you'll rest better, you'll walk better, you'll think better. I'm not fully retired, just occasionally retarded. Which I mean slower. When I use the word retarded, I'm talking about Down syndrome. I'm talking about just slowing down. That's not all bad. At some point, I should slow down a little bit and take life a bit more leisurely. But then there are areas of slowdown that I don't desire. I want to remain active and curious and adventurous. And so eating and thinking and speaking and believing all affect what we create individually as our reality. And that's very, very important in uncertain times when things seem to be so out of control. When you see leadership quaking the way you're seeing leadership, it starts at the head. If there's that much instability in Washington, that's going to filter down through the country, a spirit of anger. You can only protect and procure yourself. So center first on you, handling you, navigating you, negotiating, even manipulating you. The word manus is the Latin for hand. So when I say manipulate, I mean handling you, handling your emotions, your commotions, your devotions, and you have all of them. Most of us are cult followers of Jesus. We are cultivated or cultured followers of Jesus. Mohammedans are cultured followers of Muhammad, and Jews are cultured followers of Abraham or Moses, and Buddhists are cultivated followers or cult followers of Buddha. Many of your cult followers of athletes and entertainers, or your own pastor, or your or your favorite rock star. We are cultic by nature, not occultic. That means mystery or silent, secretive, and we are that little bit of that. But cultic is that we are cultic, the environment that influences us the most. Starting also with food. So that's why we're encouraging you to do the Daniel's fast, and I hope that you'll continue leaning primarily toward the plant-based diet, not just for 21 days, but as a rule, as an ongoing, personal, powerful experience that you owe yourself and that you need yourself, and that will be very, 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 very helpful and very, very healing, and some of the most profound ways. It's just going to be very profound. I want to get to my little talk to you tonight. Because it's sort of predicting, as you know, last year I didn't predict, I just intuitively that we would lose Queen Elizabeth, and we did. I was hoping she would live 100 years like millions of other people, but for some reason she left us. Her family weren't even anticipating that. And I talked about change. I talked about corona, I talked about shiftings, and I do every year in January, sometimes December. During my fast, during my prayer time, my meditative time, I'm thinking about the future. And so I believe that something very powerful is going to happen. one of the most pivotal years in the last several hundred. And it'll begin another few decades of dramatic shifts. I'm calling this fresh shakings and sheddings in 2023 as change keeps on changing. I've been singing the song "Everything Must Change" for like 12 years. I recorded it on my album, and I'll let you hear it later on during this month. I recorded "Change." Everything must change, and boy, I sang it every Sunday for a year, and I've been able. And my life has changed dramatically. That when I say dramatic, that doesn't mean negative. It's just powerful change. I appreciate the change, and the continued evolution of myself and my soul. So thanks for joining me tonight for what I sense and see intuitively and by observation that 2023 will be like and bring to us as Americans, but as a human species. I expect you will find it both interesting and informative, not to mention quite fascinating, the things we talk about tonight. So stay tuned and listen carefully. Write a few things down. If remember, we archive these lectures. Sometimes I say more on these live vocalizations than I do in what I print. We're dealing with natural disasters, the West Coast and across this nation, snows and earthquakes and weather conditions that are stormy, snow, flooding and power outages in areas that are not used to that. One after another, El Nino is taking place. The waters are warming in the Pacific Ocean that creates atmospheric changes. The weather comes down from Alaska and the North Pole. This NFL star, 24-year-old Damar Hamlin with the Cincinnati Buffalo Bills, just had a cardiac arrest. A 24-year-old, very healthy, active, generous person. He just collapsed. And they're concerned over the next 48 hours that he's in an induced coma type situation. Because if it's not reaching his brain, he can have some issues that'll torment him the rest of his life. So millions of people are literally praying for him. They've never shut down an NFL game for an injury because they have them constantly. That's a very violent contact sport, and it may change. Part of the change that we're going through in 23 and will be changing things that is as local and national and famous and sports, particularly football. It's dangerous. And we keep getting signs of the brain damage that it has to these athletes, and they've been ignoring it. Kohlberger, 28-year-old grad student studying criminology, arrested for murdering students. That's the alleged accusation. He denies. He was in court today and has waived extradition back to Utah, where the tragedy occurred. Families are still dealing with that. People saying, "Why our daughter? Why our child? Why now?" There are millions tonight who don't have power. Every time I lay in my bed at night and turn the electric blanket on, sometimes I just turn it off and say I'm going to do without it and sleep. It's not really that cold anyway. But I'm also very grateful. I'm grieved, but grateful at the same time that I have a warm home, a warm house, a warm bed, and even an electric blanket. I tuck my mom in every single night, and I make sure her electric blanket is on. She likes to keep her room, nursing home hot. I mean, you can't hardly breathe, but that's my mom. I caught her last night changing the linen on her bed because she had an accident, and I didn't want her. She can barely walk at 93 years old, terrible knees. And so, but I had an early call this morning. It's Corey Henry, one of the most amazing artists and musicians. He's a masterful genius, musical genius. He came to Tulsa to record me on his first Christian album. He has also Kim Burrell on there, John P. Kiki Sheard. He let me hear some. I spent most of the day with him, picked him up at the airport myself. He ate my collard greens. You know, there's collards and there's colored. Mine, there's colored greens at all. And he ate some of that tonight. And he's on a plane now headed back to Los Angeles. Grew up in the Church of God in Christ. Hit me up, I think, on Instagram or something like that. I didn't realize how powerful. He's just returned from Australia. He's all over Europe. He's loved by millions of people. An amazing and gracious gentleman. But I spent all day with him. And of course, made sure my mother had dinner tonight. Friends and my family. I stay very busy. Pope Benedict the first pope to retire in over 400 years, are laying at stake, and his funeral will be Thursday, the Vatican. Somewhat of a controversial man, but a gentle spirit, and was accused of allowing priests or covering for priests who were pedophiles. Hundreds of them, hundreds of millions have been spent by the Catholic Church covering those quote unquote sins against children. He retired arrest, and pressure was huge. Pope is the first Franciscan Pope we've ever had. And he's made a lot of changes in the Catholic Church. Don't ignore that. I've been talking about change for a long time. We barely scratched the surface of the changes that are going to. I'm telling you, I sense that 23 will be a stunning shaking. You should fasten your seatbelts. Barbara Walters, iconic journalist and TV personality, the first female live or tape television. Iconic losses we're having. She was an amazing person. Women are lining up. There are more women in seminary than men. There are more women in medical school than men. There are more women in the United States Congress than we've ever had. For Nancy Pelosi to step down, she celebrated almost the same way that Barbara Walters is, because she opened the door for so many females. And I'm proud of the Democratic Party and the things they've done. I'm proud of what Joe Biden has done and tried to do. It's a terrible resistance. Stunning and shocking that many law makers have become lawbreakers. That I've been telling you that now for some time. A lot of people have stopped listening to me. More have tuned in than don't. But many, because they don't want to. Somebody said to me, "I don't watch the news. It's too depressing." I have to watch the news so I can keep the pulse on our culture, know the direction the wind is blowing, because I'm addressing. I'm a thought leader. I talk about all this stuff. I'm invited all over the country to address issues that people think and want answers to, or just want to hear observations about. So yes, I know what's going on out there, and I try to break it down for you as often as I can to keep you informed. We as a species will now be in a very different place and a very different space in 2023. I mean, not just America, the entire human race is going to be in a different space, a different place. Start 2023, and it's going to stay this way for many, many years to come, as a lot of things evolve. I don't know the finer and more intimate details of this new place or space, but I sense strongly we'll be there, whether willingly or unwillingly. You may not like the change. You may resent the change, a lot of them. But if you if you resist it, you'll lose the battle, because change is happening without our permission. We will be confronted with huge and obvious forks road. These are a lot of intersections that will at first just seem in the way, not just in the road. These are forks that are ordained. Choosing will fright and confusion. This fork. Even abdication. Some people will get apathetic and there'll be dropouts. And they'll say, "I don't care. I don't give a damn," sort of, or "I'm not giving a dime toward it. I'm going to shut away and cut the world off." Well, if you sleep through this change, as Rip Van Winkle did, Dr. Martin Luther King made reference to that in one of his amazing speeches I heard back when I was in high school. You're going to miss a lot. You have to go within, or you'll end up going without. We're at a major intersection. Be afraid, be aware, and be prepared to adjust. I'll say it again. Do not be afraid. Just be aware. Be awakened. Be prepared to adjust. Some things need change. Some things just need a few tweaking in there. Tweakings. Some of you are not hearing clearly. There's a lot of static. And remember the old days. Most of you don't. Younger folks, when you had to use the little knob on the radio when it was too much static and the message wasn't clear. You need an antenna shifted on the television. We used to put aluminum foil around the antennas on our black and white televisions back in the 50s and 60s. I remember that so well. Note, by the way, that the rich and powerful, probably more pronounced than we've ever seen. And you're seeing that happen with the rich and powerful in Congress right now. This kind of insulting humiliation has never occurred among the leaders. The vitriol, the loose undignified attacks on one another. We've never seen this. So the rich and powerful will experience a major shaking this year, 2023, as change in system its own way. I mean, a shaking that we've never seen. Just think about the crypto mogul Sam Bankman in court today for fraud, bankrupting a $4 million fake company. Those were huge celebrities, entertainers, money moguls. There's a certain area of income that you can get to in the Wall Street mentality. You go from just being a successfully wealthy American, but you enter a money cult with all types of rituals and rules and rites, secret oaths, fraternal and sorority mentalities. Some people literally do sell their soul to the devil. I'm not talking about a guy with a pitchfork and a pointed tail, red and fanged teeth and hoofs. I'm not talking about. I mean a deadly negative, an emotion and a devotion to vice and viciousness and violence, to experience temporary success. These type things will continue and stun many corrupt and careless money moguls who robbed and raped the financial world for decades. I mean, I'm talking about corporations, and it's going to happen in ways they've never experienced it corporately, and some never personally. But both corporations, the institutions, the systems are going to be challenged. The economy in this world, not just America, but this world is going to change. Note Kevin McCarthy's embarrassing humiliation today, along with the entire fractured GOP. It's all, if you haven't watched it. Trump created this monster party of extremists, racists, warmongers, many of whom are shamefully and shamelessly evangelical Christians. I was a Republican from the time Ronald Reagan became pro-Obama ran. And my mentor, Oral Roberts, was always a Democrat and would never have voted for Trump and did vote for Obama. Would have voted the second time, but he was ill and dying at that time. We discussed it at length, talked about politics and religion and the shift and changes in the world. He said, I'm too old to get in as far as you have, Carlton, but I hear what you're saying. I like what I hear. Are these people that are supporting Trump in general? I'm making a journal. Actually supporting Vladimir Putin, who used propaganda to persuade many misguided Americans to vote in the worst president in American history, seeing him as a kind of Christ-like figure rather than the crisis figure he is. He's destroyed politics, deranged it, and heretofore intelligent, decent, dignified, fairly integrous politicians that represented us in Congress have become thugs and simpletons, sophomoric and childish, vindictive, horrible examples to our young people. That's why our youth generation is finally getting involved, saying, you know what? These old crazy folks destroy our country, our constitution, our consciousness. There's a shift. We're going to see these people and their institutions, religious included, publicly fail and fall. Whole corporations, corporate executives, leaders, founders, people that have been secret millionaires and billionaires for a long time, getting by with stuff and thinking nothing of it, deadened to the error of their ways. You're going to see sickness and suicide is going to stun them and really stuff, because some people are going to jump off bridges and commit violent acts that you never knew were that tormented, who seem to have their shift, SHIFT, together, and they don't, and they haven't. Some are substance abusers, many years, alcoholics, class otherwise. Many of them are gambling addicts. A lot of this is coming out, and it's not judgment. It's exposure to expel. We're going to expose what ultimately expelled from our culture and our consciousness. And it's going to happen in every level, with every rank, in every part and sector of the human culture, starting with America and the Western world. Those who've gotten by with decades and centuries of deception and corruption will be indicted by the universe herself. And it won't be a pretty picture, I'm telling you. Their indictment will affect us all, but not necessarily infect or defect us. So don't be shaken by it. Watch it happen. Know that it's going. I'm not changing it by warning you. I'm hoping that you will adjust your mind and adjust your spirit to what's going to happen, because it's going to be caught off guard and shaken. We will, however, in the midst of all of this, be forced to take a deeper look at and into the nature of overall reality and the nature and nurturing of our own realities, things we have created, and how we participated in creating these realities, not just managing them, but creating them. We're very powerful. And I would venture to say that the most and most conspicuous and inconspicuous trait of the divine in us is our ability to create, recreate, procreate, and create. We do that deliberately and intentionally rather than accidentally. That's why I make you, or try to make you think, encourage you to rethink. After you've thought, then think again. That's what it means, metanoia, to change the thinking mind. Notice is the word for mind. Change the nous, change the thinking. Prognosis, diagnosis, ignosis. Gnosis is the Greek word for knowledge. What's pay attention, because knowledge transcends faith. Faith is based on religion, usually, not exclusively, but particularly. Knowledge is divine. Knowledge is spiritual. Knowledge is caught up in your cells and in your soul and in remembering who you are. So look at the nature of your overall reality, especially the one that you create. It may be one of the most challenging and responsible things we will do this next year. Hear me when I tell you, it's going to be some rough, and me telling you is not going to change that. I can't change the circumstances, but I can help you enhance how you respond to them. And don't react. Reactions. Faith is a response. Faith is a reaction. Respond in faith and with faith and appropriate knowledge. And I'm telling you in advance, so you're not shocked and stunned. These next several years will possibly evolve or involve paradigm shattering and paradigm shuttling shifts. When I say shuttle, I mean we're going to be called upon by nature to help shuttle or transport the present paradigm to its duration and configuration and manifestation. We'll literally shuttle things around, shift things around, move things around. Every once in a while, I tell you to just to move something in your house, make space for your next miracle. Move something in the closet. Start slowly collecting clutter and reassembling things. Give away things. Don't just sell everything. Some of you made in a position where you really need to sell, and do that. But give as much as you can. I have suits and shoes that I have in years. And I keep giving away. And really, the more you give, the more you have to give. But I'm going to keep giving away. Red Cross, Goodwill. We have the Dream Center here that my daughter, Majesty, is very involved in, sponsored by Victory Christian Center. They do great work on the north side, which is a predominantly black side of town. But find ways to unload, to let some of the luggage, things you've lugged, and maybe even loved too long, and things that you love, you need to let go. You really do need to distance yourself, or just detach yourself from them. People know what they like, but they don't want, but they won't like necessarily what they become aware of in ways that were both obvious and normal before now. There will be an increasing spirit of distrust, disillusionment, suspicion of the old models and modalities. They won't work anymore. People are not trusting law, legalism. They're not trusting religion. They're not trusting education. They're not trusting entertainment. They're not. Old traditions are being assaulted. People will demand change, even if not sure what that change will actually mean. We know that, and all these people find, and I always use January 6th as an example of polls change, but they know it's happening. They know it's coming. That's why they're in that public breakdown. And it's January 6th is just the top of the iceberg, tip of the iceberg. There is so much anger and bitterness. There's the legal militia that the United States sponsors, but the other militias, and there are hundreds of them that are not sponsored or cooperating with the government. And that energy is deadly, negative, and violent. And when it will. You're going to see some of it this year. Very likely, very possibly, Donald Trump is going to be indicted and possibly prosecuted. His followers are not going to give up. They're going to be violent. We've seen what they can do. I'm just telling you. I want this to happen. I'm not necessarily predicting just because I'm some soothsayer, because I'm not. By observation and, of course, intuitively, I do see, and I say it. Something pretty dramatic, both with natural disasters and people disasters, social disasters. A lot of unveilings and disclosures of corruption in religion. Some of the top you would never suspect are corrupt will be unveiled and disclosed. You're going to get tired, and many of you already are tired of hearing these things. Don't become numb to it to the point that you don't adjust to it. You don't have the right or the luxury to be apathetic and lethargic. You got to be energized by some of this, not to a negative sense, but you must awaken. There will be an increasing spirit of distrust, disillusionment, suspicion of the old models. People will demand change. Many of the changes, both subconsciously, will appear initially as unrecognizable. It's like, what? I know what happened. What just happened? What happened to that? When did that change? When did that go? When did that go? Leave us on here. There's going to be a lot of that, even from people supposedly in the know. People will not recognize it. Not so much that these changes are, but what the changes are and why the changes are. Not just that. And we won't be able or even allowed to recognize such things until we actively and willingly, if not eagerly, participate in the new realities present and invent. You can't just sit idly by. You've got to be activated. By participate, I mean to take part in the actions or the allocations or the evolutions and the overall universal endeavors. You got to participate. Be aware. We will be confronted with a lot more digitization, artificial intelligence, robotics, evolving, even strange and remote technologies. Technology will scare us. It will invade us, and it won't avoid us. Artificial intelligence is already present. It will increase. I predict that maybe millions of people will lose their jobs because they're going to be replaced by artificial intelligence and robots. They're subtly introducing it to us now. That's why so many people are becoming self-employed. They're using the internet. They're downloading and creating positions to create their own money. Many people left the job during COVID and don't want to go back. They don't want to work for anybody. That's not laziness. It's a generation. It's a genetic. They regeneration. It's a new kind of professional genitalia to reproduce with. That's just the way it is. I know it sounds crude, but that's how dramatic the changes are going. Never in the history of the species, have we seen the kind of shiftings and changes that we're going to see more almost revoltingly this year, 2023. A lot of it this month, in February. This includes the varying frequencies of consciousness. I like the way Daryl Anka said through the channeling of Bashar, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Everything is energy. You cannot destroy energy. You can't even diminish it. You can extend it. It doesn't die. It doesn't go away, but it does move and has moving parts. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency. You know, we're talking about this soak technology, this immersion technology, and the frequencies. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that or procure that reality. You can be no other way. This is not philosophy, he says. This is physics. It's science. He adds later, everything is here and now, but in states of visibility and invisibility. Everything is here and now, but in various states of visibility and invisibility, depending upon the frequency that you are operating on, and that means the belief system, the definitions that you buy into most strongly. I say your frequency is affected by what you think about most frequent. That's how you create the frequency that guides and sometimes guards, invents, or prevents your life in different areas. Thinking, challenging, rethinking, or repenting, reconsidering. Everything will be given both and commission to unveil itself. Hear what I'm saying. Everything is going to be revealed. I mean, things that we've never thought of needing revelation. Everything given far more than we've ever seen. Mission and commission to unveil itself. Consciousness is conscious of itself. There are all kinds of energies flowing around life sources and forces around us that are conscious of their purpose. And they're going to work and walk it out without your permission and sometimes without your awareness. But a strange awareness is going to occur to where you won't know with always absolute specificity what happened, but you'll know something did happen. And you'll be forced to adjust. You'll be demanded to adjust, commanded to adjust. And you can do it. The universe will become more vocal than ever, creating and echoes that attach themselves to our very souls and our very psyches. The universe is going to speak of itself to you and to us. Speak of itself, about itself, to and through itself. The universe will. No one will be able to ignore or avoid these very dramatic, demanding, commanding shifts on our planet and in our world. You don't have permission this time to do it. You'll have to train yourself to count your blessings more than your bruisings to avoid feelings of despair and defeat. Our national economy will be both more vulnerable and more volatile. The national, we're going to a cashless society, and Wall Street and the trading industries and some of the tricks and trades are going to shift. When your money seems funny, don't panic or react. Always notice the bigger picture. Nothing is permanent. Stay focused and faithful to destiny and purpose as you perceive them, and study them during this month. Are you doing the soak immersion technology, abstaining from processed foods as much as possible, and no meat, fish, or fowl for the next 21 days. And then subsequent to that, a plant-based diet for the most part. It takes a while. He loves a neck bone or a piece of fried bacon more than me. I haven't had a hamburger. I don't even remember the last time I had a regular hamburger, but I love cheeseburgers with lettuce and tomatoes and onions. Oh my God. And now I get that Impossible beef. And sometimes we have to watch it that it's not processed. It's made from a plant-based source, and it's very delicious. You can use it with beans and greens. You can make hamburgers and pizzas with it. You can make chili with this Impossible beef. You find it at organic stores. Try to eat more organically grown foods, or go to these what do you call it when they bring all the fresh foods out? I forgot, my mind went blank. But these markets where you get fresh produce every week. People do it in the winter months. We do it mostly here in the summer and spring months here. There'll be possibly huge and unordinary amounts of revelation, as I said earlier, and disclosure this year. and that will continue on into the and all parts of the universe. It's all part of the universe, clearing, cleansing, and correcting herself. So these things are going to continue. Pardon the phraseology I'm going to use here, but there's going to be a type of universal menstrual cycle, a fluid that has served its purpose and must now be discarded so as to not obstruct further and future growth and reproduction. The universe will go through a menstrual cycle. The proverbial snake will shed its, not because there's anything wrong with the skin, but because the snake has outgrown it. Our culture and consciousness has outgrown certain coverings. So we're going to shed a lot. In every sector and aspect of human culture, beginning here in America, there's going to come a huge shedding. It may not look pretty. It may not even feel pretty. It may not feel right or even holy. But let it happen because it's powerful. It's powerful. Cycle is characterized by the rise and fall of hormones. Menstruation is triggered by falling progesterone levels and is a sign that pregnancy has not occurred. So there's a lot of that we are not pregnant. Culture is. We're going to unload some things that have served a meaningful purpose, but there's no more space or place for them in the present reality. That's all I'm saying. Allow the flow, folks. It's natural, properly nurtured. It's common, it's scientific, it's biological, physiological, psychological. 2023 will be a watershed year where with ongoing, perhaps even more dramatic change in and as humanity has ever known or experienced in recent history ever. It's going to be wild. It will appear somewhat chaotic as the old systems break down, and dissolve before us. 3D level consciousness will be most confusing. So you're going to have to try to live beyond it spiritually and even mystically. There is a beyond three-dimensional perceptions. You, again, as I often say, you have to, you'll end up going without. Both beginnings and endings will be conspicuous than normal. You'll know when something has ended. You'll also know when something has begun. No one will miss them. This is how obvious they will be. Some things will seem more superficial and mostly because the energy to sustain them will be there. So they'll almost seem skeletal. Church, religion, even fraternities and sororities will notice interest and energy, including loyalties and relationships, won't be the same. So suddenly, it just won't feel right, sound right, taste right. A strange apathy and lethargy will be unexplainably present, almost like a disease. Those unwilling to change appear both dyslexic and all but demented. A social type of Alzheimer's will be obvious. The rich and the powerful will be profoundly confused, both personally and corporately and power more to the people and commoners. And the rich and powerful will be busy trying to understand and adjust to their feelings of loss and betrayal systematically. This is going to happen. America as a nation, some of this I just wrote this evening. The nation could go into a credit crisis with a long call, then the government and our image as a world power challenged and maybe even changed. Don't panic. Prepare. Don't be alarmed. Be aware. Conservative Americans' followership, manipulation, and propagandizing of Vladimir Putin and Russia and Putin's choice, Donald Trump, in arguably the most powerful position on the planet. He successfully split and polarized our country more radically than any leader in any other time, except the Civil War. Trump did that. Putin did that. Though we'll ultimately be okay as a nation, much of the past tricks and trade and traditions will all be coming down, and the dust will choke off and out many. Be prepared for that. Okay? Vladimir Putin, when Mr. Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this, and it came down. Vladimir was a young, bright, brilliant, pretty aggressive KGB leader, a vicious man. And he said, oh, no, hell no, that ain't going to happen. I'm going to take democracy down. And he studied carefully for years, decades. Reagan said that. He studied America and found that, I think, this is my opinion, that our greatest strength and weaknesses are religion and racism. Those are our greatest strengths and our greatest weaknesses. And he went through the most religious and the most racist aspect, which is Christianity. Not all of it, but particularly evangelical fundamentalist Christianity. He went and he manipulated the church and plays it like a fiddle. Trump is just like what's happening in Congress right now. Something's going to happen with Donald Trump and those surrounding. It's going to be shocking. A lot of these guys are going to jail. Some of them will possibly commit suicide. Some of them will just have nervous breakdowns, collapsing. It'll be raggedy, it'll be rough, it'll be rugged, but it'll be real. Temporarily. I'm just warning you because I don't want you to fall apart. See it, sense it, and when necessary, say it. We got this. I don't have an answer. I just have an observation, and that is to warn you that these dramatic shifts will be the most dramatic we've ever experienced as a species in many centuries, possibly millennia. And it'll start this year, 2023, and go into 2024 and 2025. There will be other mutant type viruses, vaccines, and shots. And don't be afraid that they're off the race. It's just follow the money. Every time there's a new mutant, these drug companies make billions of dollars. Some of you will never wear a mask, haven't worn one, will never get the vaccination, will never have the booster, and die. Some of you will not be affected by it at all. Some of you will get deathly ill and regret that you didn't do something. Others will not be affected by it at all. We will lose loved ones and friends, and parents will go, grandparents and godparents. And at my age, that happens a lot. Sometimes even siblings and peers. I've lost so many peers that I thought would live forever. Some of them didn't live until their 70th birthday. And I hope to live to mine this coming March. But who knows? Anything could happen. If I drop dead today, which I don't intend to do that at all, I have no regrets. I've lived a good, full, free life, and I've helped a lot of people. That I suspicion that, I expect that, I anticipate that, and I'll do more. I've had brushes with death. I've been shot 3 times, twice in the back, once in the chest. Part of the bullet is still in my back. I had cancer 20 years ago. I'm cancer-free, but I still have issues with scar tissue and some things occasionally. But I'm good. I'm good. I sleep well. I need more, and I'm going to continue to adjust my food. I'm not going to dig my grave as millions of us do with my fork, spoon, and a knife. Again, avoid processed foods as much as possible. Try to go more organic. Plant-based diet. Next week, I'll share more with you on the Daniel's fast and some of the dangers of eating processed foods. We're preparing music. And if you have time, Malachi, if you got that song from Majesty, I want to close with it. It's a beautiful song she wrote and played for you. It's just powerful. I think it's a good way to close the program. Those of you who can listen to it, 2 or 3 more minutes. I'd like to close with that song, and let it bless you if you're there. And I think you probably are. I love you. Close your eyes if you want to.
Finding a way to overcome my fears. I am strong enough. There might be some bumpy roads ahead, but I'm equipped. I've learned some great lessons. The power lies in me. Now I see so clearly. All my steps are destined. I'm going in the right direction. Gotta keep believing in myself. Gotta keep going, don't give up. Yes, I'm gonna see this through. Yeah, I put my trust in you. The only way out is to go with am connected to a source that never runs out. I am connected to a love that never runs out. I am connected to a source that never runs out. I am connected to a love that never runs out. I am connected to a source that never runs out. I am connected to a love that never runs out. I am connected. I gotta keep believing in myself. Gotta keep going, don't give up. Guess I'm gonna see this through. Yeah, I put my trust in you. The only way out is to go within. Now I see you're my best friend. I'm finally found my peace. I know that I can trust in me. Believing in myself. Gotta keep going, don't give up. Guess I'm gonna see this through. Yeah, I put my trust in you. The only way out is to go within. Now I see you're my best friend. Yes, I'm finally found my peace. I know that I can trust in me.
Wow, she wrote that song. Madge wrote it. That's one of the first songs she's ever written. Next time we do that, we'll put a picture up so you can see my baby girl. She's amazing. But that song just really, I hear a lot in that song as well. I mean, things that she learned from her mother. Gina, it was just beautiful. So thank you for listening tonight. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for your consciousness. Thank you for your time. And those of you who plant treasures in the ministry of New Dimensions 2, thank you for what you do. We share this out of our heart. We care about you. I just can't stop pastoring. And I do some personal counseling and things like that. But I'll never ask this. Who can't afford to pay large amounts of money for coaching? Some of you can, and we'll launch that program to where I can have individual times. Money is time, and time is money. So people can pay, and some will. In general, I'll always be available to comment and sharing things. We're going to develop all of this to where it's more interactive, and Malachi's working on a Zoom time just for you who are participating in the SOAK immersion. That we can interact and talk and share experiences. We'll carry this on not just this month, but through the year. I want to walk through the year with you because it's going to be quite a ride, quite a walk, quite a run. And we need to pull together, stick together, and stay together in ways we haven't. Thank you, Deluge, and Mateo, and Donna, and Carolyn, and Harold, and all you wonderful stuff. I see your names, Delica Rosa, I think it is. I got to put my glasses on. I like that name. It's very interesting, but we're closing out. Our time is out. Delicate Rose, 89. Delicate Rose. I made it harder than a Delicate Rose. That's these. Marie Simmons, thank you. Dr. Hurley, bless you. Peach D, Dr. PH, and RR. Wow, Doctor, I'm impressed. Hi, Wayne. How you doing? All right, let's close out. Give you the rest of the night off. I've had a long day, and I'll have a nice rest tonight and check out things tomorrow as I need to. Thank you, those of you who donate to New Dimensions. If everybody just gave $10, wouldn't that be a blessing? Just the people who are on, who watch this or who see it in the future. Some people do $50. A lot of people, not all at the same time, but over the times, lots of people have given 50 or 100. And but I appreciate it. There's no gift too small, and of course, there's no gift too large. Thank you. God be you. Good night to all of you.
I'm no longer trying to escape from the curses I was born to break. Finding a way to overcome my fears. I am strong enough. Might be some bumpy roads ahead, but I'm equipped. I've learned some great lessons. The power lies in me. Now I see so clearly. All my steps are destined. I'm going in the right direction. Gotta keep